What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the stream. I appreciate y'all so very much for hanging out with me today. Everyone that's coming into the stream at this time, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Anybody that's watching the stream on the replay, thanks so much. I really appreciate that. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's dive into it. Snorlax, what's going on? Glad you finally made it. Glad you finally got some alert and you're here early. I appreciate you. So I wanted to talk today just in general about the Lakers roster. What we think the starting lineups, things like that should be. Of course, I'll put it in video form at some point, but why not do a live conversation about it as well? Kind of hear your thoughts and opinions and get your guys' feedback on all of that stuff as well. But in general, I think we have a very deep roster. And I do think in general, this roster is going to fluctuate based on matchups, right? I think some games you have Davis start at the 5. Some games, you have Thomas Bryant, David Jones, especially the 2 spot. I think the only locks are Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook. As long as those 3 are healthy and playing, they're going to be the starters. Outside of that, Russ, if he's not working at any point, I think the Lakers at least give a decent sample size, say 20 games or so. And then if he's not working at that point, then I imagine we see something along the lines of maybe him coming off the bench. But at least, unless that happens, we got basically 3 of the 5 locked in. Now, the sort of 2 spot and the 5 spot, I think, are the ones that are really interchangeable. I think those ones will fluctuate based on, matchups. So, for example, the first 2 games of the season are against the Warriors and the Clippers, right? So I could see those matchups, Anthony Davis starting at center. You have Anthony Davis come in because, Kevin Looney, you're not really worried about him. You're not worried about, Draymond Green or James Wiseman or whomever. You're not worried about those guys against Anthony Davis. Against the Clippers, Ivica Zubac is not going to handle Anthony Davis. You're not worried about that. The 2 rookies aren't going to do that. And then other than that, they're small. So you're good. I just think it depends on matches. But if we're playing Denver, I don't think they start him at the 5. If we're playing, Philly, I don't think they start him at the 5. And I think it's just to kind of protect him and, keep him healthy throughout the season because that's the most important. But outside of that, I think, if LeBron's playing the 5 spot, playing the 4 spot, then they go the 3-guard lineup. Personally, I think they should look at Austin Reaves as the starting 2 guard or maybe starting 3 guard. I wouldn't mind a Russ, Reaves, Walker, LeBron, and Davis starting 5. I'm a little concerned with the shooting of that starting 5, but I think defensively you'd be really good. I think you got a lot of versatility and flexibility with that lineup. But the reason I think the Lakers should start Austin Reaves is because Austin Reaves seems to play his best and be the most effective when he's playing with the starters. When he's playing with LeBron and those guys, he is really good. But you see him when he's playing with the bench units and stuff like that, he's not as good. He still has his moments and stuff like that, but overall he's not as good. So I think the best way to capitalize Austin Reaves is you start him with the bench guys. Not just that, but I think Kendrick Nunn, whether you start him or bring him off the bench, I think he's going to be just as effective regardless. Same thing with a Patrick Beverly, guys like that, where if you have Reaves, you have Walker, you got some good size at the 2 and the 3. Walker's a little undersized, but he got a 6'10" wingspan, so that's very beneficial. And then you got LeBron and Davis. If that's the route they're going to go, I think that would be a good one. I don't think that that's necessarily the best overall lineup, but I think that that's the best way to get the most out of each of those players. Just because Austin Reaves, I think, will be better as with the starting unit than he would be coming off the bench, stuff like that. But I think arguably the best starting lineup would be Russ, Kendrick Nunn, Walker, Davis, or LeBron and Davis. I think that would be the best. As far as depth, stuff like that, or maybe even JTA instead of Walker. But I think Walker gives you more versatility. I think defensively they're both pretty close. I do think JTA may end up being a better 3-point shooter, but Walker's look good, so far, and he has had a season where he shot 40%. So, but I like Walker's length, and I like his ability to play make and get to the basket. So and him just being young and can run and he's quick and stuff. I think that would be good. But I don't. I want them to keep Anthony Davis out of the 5 spot as much as possible. I really do. I want them to keep him sort of as like basically bubble wrapped as possible, at least until we get to the playoffs. Come playoff time, I absolutely think he'll guard Joker, he'll guard the Embiids, he'll guard the big centers of the league. He'll go up against a Rudy Gobert, guys like that. I really do. What's going on, Chiefs? Guy? Appreciate you. How are you? How are you? Bryant, LeBron, AD, Austin Reaves, and none. I don't mind that. That's not terrible at all. I mean, I think Russ is going to start, but like as an alternative or even just a lineup in general, I think that would be pretty solid. I can see that. If we play LeBron big minutes at the 4 and 80 big minutes at the 5, neither one of those players make it in the playoffs healthy. That's kind of my concern with you. I'm kind of in agreement with you. Like, I just think, you want to keep although I think LeBron would be fine at the 4 because we're not in the old days with like, Horace Grant, Dennis Rodman, guys like that playing the 4, James Worthy. Like, we're not worried about those like big bodies that just love to bang and stuff. Like nowadays, a lot of starting 4s are like 6'7" to 6'9". And they're not really, they're more shooters than anything else. Like LeBron isn't gonna have a problem against Draymond, Tobias Harris, Aaron Gordon, guys like that. I think he's fine. Like, like there's not really like, I mean, even like the Timberwolves, like, is Karl Anthony Towns really going to be able to guard LeBron James? I don't think so. So I don't think that would be a problem. I do worry about Davis at the 5 though in certain matchups. Like I don't want him having a bang with a Rudy or an Embiid or something like that. Just because at least not now. Come playoff time, if it's a closeout game or something like that and we need it, then yes, of course. Or it's game 7, yes, you start Anthony Davis. You do what you got to do. So I think it just depends, but I do think certain matchups you can do that. Certain bench units, stuff like that. Like you could, start the third quarter, and say they, the Sixers aren't starting Embiid. They have them sitting like, yeah, go ahead, run Anthony Davis at the 5, something like that. I think it just depends. I wouldn't mind if AR or Pat Bev were starting along Russ. You have a decent floor spacer defender next to Russ and have AR as a facilitator off the bench with none as the scorer off the bench. Yeah, like that's what I'd say. Like the only reason I'm kind of like, I really think that they should start AR is just because like I really think he's just a better fit with the starters. I think he's really good. Like every time you see him just really shining, he's shining with the starters. Not saying that he's not good with the bench kind of stuff like that, but he just plays off of LeBron and Davis and them very well. And so I think you're going to get the most out of, Austin Reaves if he's the starter. Like if Austin Reaves is starting, I really think you get the most out of him. Little concerned with his shooting, but I do think he can shoot well enough to keep teams honest. I also think, he's a solid defender. And I think, that way you have him with LeBron, with AD. I think you're just going to maximize him the most. Pat Bev, I don't mind at all. Have him start next to Russ. I do. And like I said, I do think it'll be very interchangeable. I really do. I think it'll be very interchangeable depending on the matchups, which teams we run into, stuff like that. I think it just really depends. 80 at the 5, unless we play teams like the Timberwolves, Bucks, or Cavs. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I think 80 starts at the 5 unless we're playing like the big centers of the league, or just the high energy, like that like to bang, stuff like that. Like I think we're fine outside of that. Yeah, I think we'll be good. But I wouldn't mind AR-15 starting either. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. I don't mind it either. Like I said, I think that would be the best way to capitalize on Reaves personally. Will they actually go that route? I don't know. But I wouldn't mind it. Like if it happens, like I think that Austin Reaves will get you. I think we'll see the best Austin Reaves if he starts. And my thing is like I would rather get Austin Reaves. I'd rather get the best Austin Reaves, and because I feel like a lot of the other guys are going to give you the same production regardless. Like I think Kendrick Nunn can give you 20 whether he starts or is off the bench as long as you give him the minutes. Where I don't think AR is going to play 30, 40 minutes a game. I think we're going to go very deep. I think we're going to run, 12 to 13 guys a game, especially early on, especially if it's working and we're winning. I don't think Darvin Ham's going to switch that up or change that up or anything like that. But whose man is this? What's up? What's up, Blecka? I appreciate you. What is going on? Bench Russ, your idea of Russ playing with LeBron is off the floor makes a lot of sense. I still believe that's how Darvin Ham is probably going to do that the most. I do think he starts Russ, though. I think, one, you got to get those three guys reps, which I do understand. But I do think outside of like the starting lineup, I don't see Russ playing with LeBron a ton. Maybe a couple minutes here and there sporadically, but I think for the most part, I think Darvin Ham is going to fluctuate, alternate Russ and LeBron. So I think, you start Russ and LeBron, they play like the first 5 to 7 minutes, and then very likely LeBron comes off the floor. You put Russ in the game, or you keep Russ in the game. Put, all the bench guys come in that you want to come in, and then it's just the Russell Westbrook show. And you just let Russ be Russ, which I'm okay with. Like, a lot of people don't want, are like, well, if Russ is Russ again, there is value in Russ being Russ. It just depends on what's the situation. Now, Russ being Russ with LeBron James and Anthony Davis isn't going to work. But Russell Westbrook with a bunch of just role bench guys is going to work. You need Russ to be Russ in those moments. It's just about having Russ be able to understand, okay, I am in this, I am in this position here. Can I, I need to be within the scope of the offense. Okay, well, now it's just me. Go be Russ. Because Russ has proven he's very good, and he's good enough to, carry an offense, can, build on a lead, get the lead back, stuff like that. It just depends on the situation. But I don't think LeBron and Russ play a ton together. I do think they play some time together, but I don't think they play a ton. I get Jack Black. I still know what you did last summer from you today with that fit. Man, what's up with that? What's up with that? What did they say in Scary Movie? I'm blanking on it, but he's like, yeah, I want to kill that motherfucker. That was great. If Russ comes off the bench, then we could start the game with a traditional center. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though. I don't think he's at least anytime soon. I think they at least start him and just see where it goes from there and see, what if he can really buy in. I don't think, and I could be wrong. Maybe at some point they do, but I just think if they're going to start Russ this season regardless. And if it's working, they're not going to change that. They'll let Russ continue to be Russ and start as Russ. So that is right. Like and subscribe. We got 81 of you beautiful people in the stream. We're at 4773. Can we get to 4,800? That would be amazing. That's only 23 subscribers. I'm sure there's 23 of you out there. As a fact, I know there are 23 of you out there that aren't subscribed. So subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate that. Let's get me to 4,800. That'd be amazing. I think if AR does start, though, I think it would be best to start Thomas Bryant. That way you still got decent spacing. Not saying AR is a bad shooter, obviously, but Thomas Bryant would help rather than DJ. I agree. I think it just depends on what lineup are you going with? Because, I think if you go with AD at the 5, then I think like a Reaves Walker. Again, I'm concerned with that shooting, but I think both shoot respectable enough to where teams have to stay honest. But if we do say like a game we don't start AD at the 5, then yeah, I'd probably go Thomas Bryant also just for that. I mean, look, I agree with you. Like AR isn't a bad shooter, but he's not like elite. He's not like lights out. He has his moments here and there, but he's not like right now he's just an average shooter, which is fine. It's only his second year in the league, right? So very rarely do guys shoot lights out 2 years in the league. It's just, but I need him to be respectable enough to where teams have to be honest. That's all I really care about. Just make teams honest. You play the big three and play the two players that match them the best on the floor, defensively and offensively. Exactly, which is why I think they should start Reaves. I really think Reaves would be most effective with the starting lineup. And that might not necessarily be the best overall starting lineup, but I think it is. I think it is because you're going to get the most out of Austin Reaves, where guys like Kendrick Nunn, I think Kendrick Nunn, he's going to give you 20 a game, whether he's off the bench or he's starting. Either way, I really think he does. As long as he gets the minutes and stuff, I think he's going to be as effective regardless. But if Austin Reaves plays with like the bench guys, I don't think he's as good and effective as he is with the starters. So I think, so to me, I would look at it as like, I want to get the most out of each of my guys. How do I get the most out of each of my guys? I think starting Austin Reaves gives you the most out of Austin Reaves. That makes sense. And then now you have that, and then so on and so forth. And then because I think most of the guys, like Patrick Beverley, I think is going to give you the same production regardless, whether he starts or is off the bench. I think he's going to be just as good because his skill set, the things that he's going to do, you're not going to be asking. He's going to do the same thing regardless. Where Austin Reaves, I think his roles change based on, is he with the bench guys or is he with the starters? And I just don't think he's there to where he can play that same role yet, no matter who's on the court with him. I just think he plays so much better with LeBron and Davis and guys like that. Is starting to AD at the 5 a concern? It is not, depending on the matchup. So I do, just so everyone knows, I do have a video coming out. I actually was going to post the video at this time, but instead I was like, let's go live. I'll schedule the video a little farther. So after this live stream, you'll get a full in-depth AD at the 5 video. Look out for that. But I don't worry about AD at the 5 in certain matchups. Like, I don't want to see AD going up against like Rudy Gobert, or like an Embiid or a Joker or guys like that early on. I think if like I mentioned earlier is like the first 2 games of the season are against the Warriors and the Clippers. Like, I am totally fine with Anthony Davis starting at the 5 in those matchups because you're not worried about Draymond Green. If Draymond starts at the 5, I don't even think he's going to play that game. But if he does, you're not worried about Draymond Green. You're not worried about Kevon Looney, and you're not worried about Wiseman. Like, Anthony Davis is going to eat those guys alive. So let him start at the 5. And now you match up better against, their guards, their Poole, Wiggins, guys like that, Steph, Clay, all of those guys. So I like AD at the 5 in that matchup. The Clippers, they only have a Zubac, and after him, that's basically it. They got 2 rookies, and that's it. No other bigs. Anthony Davis is going to feast on those guys. So I think you can maximize and you can start him. But if we're going up against like the bigger, more physical type centers, I don't think you should start AD at the 5. Now, if it's a playoff series or it's, a closeout game, say we're up 3-2 against the Nuggets, right? You start AD at the 5, right? Because you're trying to close that game out. But if it's like, or if it's a game 7, something like that. But during an 82-game season, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. Right now, I think the 2 best players that match the big 3 are JTA and Nunn. I was leaning towards TB, but that shot looks awful right now. He needs more time post-injury. Yeah, I think a lot of what's going – I mean, TB looks good in moments, and then there's like little rough moments as well. But I think a lot of that is just he needs to get his legs under him. Like that was my sort of thought process when it came to like the first 2 games in preseason. He just looked terrible. But when you think about it, you're like, well, he didn't play pretty much the whole season last year. So, that makes sense. He's got to get his, game ready legs under him. I do think JTA and Nunn are probably the best off of the big 3. And I don't mind. I think it depends on if LeBron's starting at the 4, then I think, maybe you do Nunn and Reaves. You could do something like that. Like I said, my only thing is I just think that Austin Reaves, I think you'll get the most out of Reaves. Like JTA, I think, again, will give you the same production regardless. I think Nunn will give you the same production regardless. And maybe your closing lineups are those guys. Maybe when you go to close out games, maybe it's, Nunn, JTA, LeBron, and Davis. Okay, cool. Like, that's fine. But I think to start the game, I think you'd get the most out of Austin Reaves if you had Austin Reaves be the actual starter. Now, I'm not saying like you have to start. I'm not saying anything like that. I just like I don't care either way if Ham decides to start him or not. I just think like I'm sure Austin Reaves will get time with those guys regardless. But I think you start them early, give the kid some confidence. Oh, I'm a starter this year. I'm this. I'm that. You give him some confidence and kind of let him operate within the scope of the team. Um, do you think we'll see Bev and Dennis together with the bench unit for a couple minutes tomorrow? Well, supposedly everyone's supposed to be playing tomorrow. I mean, unless something changes between now and tomorrow. Or I don't know about Troy Brown, but outside of Troy Brown, I believe everyone, from what Darvin Ham was saying, like pretty much everyone's supposed to be playing tomorrow. So if that's the case, then yes, I do imagine we'll see different lineups, different matchups, stuff like that. I do think Dennis and Bev will be the first guards off the bench, personally. But yeah, I hope so. I do. I hope we get to see that starting tomorrow. Will all the guards on our roster play the better shooting with LeBron? I think so. So a lot of the guys we have shot good in the past. Like I said, like Walker, he has seasons where he shot 40%. Beverly has seasons he shot 38%. Troy Brown had a season where he shot like 38%. There's a lot of guys on this team that have had really good shooting years. And some guys have had multiple really good shooting years. And I do think LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, and Anthony Davis, a lot of these guys have never played with guys like that. Like Walker's never played next to a LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook to where, he's going to get shots and looks like he's never gotten in his career, in his young career, right? So that's a thing too, is I think a lot of these guys are going to get better shots, better looks, unlike anything that's happened to them before. I think they're going to be in a really good position. And I do think a lot of these guys you might see have better shooting years than typical, than usual. So I do. Does JTA have a case to start at 3 if AD starts at the 5? I think so. I mean, I like JTA at the 3 or the 4. I think his versatility, it's just, can he knock down shots consistently? Because the problem is he's just so inconsistent at times. Like, I mean, defensively, he's fine. But it's just like his shooting is just really like, one game he's like 4 of 5 from 3. And then the next game he's like 1 of 8. And you're just like, damn. Like, I don't need him to shoot lights out. I don't need any of these guys to really shoot lights out. I just need guys to be respectable. I need guys to, like, when they're on the court, does the defender have to get out to you? Do they have to close out, or are they just going to stand pack the paint? Like, I need guys like that. And so I think JTA at the 3, I think if his shot is falling, yes, I think you could play him at the 3. I really do. I think it just comes down to that. Make me a starting 5 with horror villains. With horror villains. Let's say Freddy Krueger at point guard. We'll say Ghostface at shooting guard. We'll say let's say Leatherface at small forward. Give me Michael at power forward and Jason at center. Let's go. There you go. There's your starting 5. The Merkins. Let's go. Shout outs to the Merkins. What's good as it stands? What's going on, SM? I appreciate you. What percentage chance do you give Darvin Ham at winning Coach of the Year? Personally, I think it's really small because I don't think the Lakers are going to be, because usually Coach of the Year is like, like who has the best record or like one of the top like 3 to 5 records in the league, and who had it turned around. So I don't know, unless the Lakers are just really good this year and like they're like a top 3 seed or something, then yeah, maybe then I think it's high. But I think realistically, one, I don't think the Lakers are going to care so much about seeding as long as they secure the playoffs. So like let's say there's 3 games left in the season. We're a game and a half out of 4th place. but we're locked in to sixth place, right? Like we're 3.5 games ahead of the 7th seed. So even if we lose all 3 games, we're still the 6th seed. And like we're good basically. Like, and it's like I don't think the Lakers are going to push to try to go get that 4 spot. I don't think they care. I think they just, the way that the Lakers are looking at it is like, as long as we're in the playoffs, we got LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook. We're fine. And I think that they believe that they can beat anybody in that team. Like, and you're probably, unless you're, the 1 or 2 seed, you're probably not getting home court regardless. You're going to have to win on the road regardless. I don't think they're really going to care. So I don't think they're going to try to win enough games to where Darvin Ham ends up winning Coach of the Year. But you never know. You never know. I do think this team is really good. And I think, I mean, I've said that I think this team wins at least 52 to 55 games, which could put them anywhere in the 4 to 6 range. Now, if they win closer to like 58, then I do think he has a high chance. But right now, I'd put it very small. I'd put it like 15% maybe. Austin Reaves is overrated. I don't think he's overrated at all. I mean, I think he's kind of neutral. I don't think a lot of people really overrate him. Like, I never see anybody talk about Austin Reaves being the next Jordan. Like, I see other fans talk about some of their young guys. Like, especially because, look, I have another channel As It Stands where I talk other teams besides the Lakers, and you should see some of the comments on that channel. Like, I'll talk about a guy and I'll be like, oh, you should, like, oh, they should trade this guy for, like, back when Donovan Mitchell, I'd be like, oh, like, what about this guy for Donovan Mitchell? People be like, you can't trade him. And I'm like, the dude's 25 years old, is coming out of the G. Like, no, but he has so much, like, everybody thinks that their guy is the next Jordan. But I don't really feel many. I mean, of course, there are some like that, but I feel most people kind of rate Austin Reaves as like a role guy. Like most people look at Austin Reaves as like, he's never going to be a star, but he's not a bad player. He's a role guy. He has potential to be, a top tier role guy, but I don't think anyone thinks he's ever going to be a superstar or anything like that. So I don't think anybody does that. Sutton isn't a starter. He can't duck and shoot. I'm assuming you mean somebody else. The Lakers just requested waivers on Bryce Hamilton and signed guard Napier Lewis, another guy. Man, they are just cycling through these guys. At least, like, if you're going to sign these guys, at least let them get some run. Let's see what they are. But look, I said that I had people in the comments I had somebody in the comments that were like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I live in Vegas. I saw Bryce Hamilton play regularly. That dude was not very good. Like, he was not very good at all. Like, I even relayed that in the video. And some guy was in the comments saying that he was like, I was teammates with him. I had to guard him. He's a good scorer. I was like, of course, I'm his uncle. I'm his cousin. So I know how he, like people are funny. The internet is a funny place. But yeah, Nate Pierre-Louis, I'll have to get video up on that. I haven't gotten a notification for that. That's interesting. Usually I have like notifications set for like everything. I haven't got a notification for that, but yeah, I'll have to get a video up after the stream. I'll probably go about an hour, so like another 30 minutes. So, is it true Matt Ryan would cost the Lakers $7 million in luxury tax? Yeah, roughly. Pretty close. It might not be exactly that, but it's probably somewhere around there. Might be a little more, a little less. But yeah, because just the luxury tax and stuff like that, it's just how it works. Now, look, the Lakers, I don't think care, as long as it's a guy that they feel is worth, being on the roster, feel like they are worth playing. Matt Ryan's, I got to see what Matt Ryan's, because I think his vet minimum, because he's only going to get a vet minimum. I think his vet minimum is only like 1.5, something like that, somewhere around there, which then his luxury tax would be like $5 million or like $5.5 million, something like that. But I'd have to actually look into it. I haven't actually looked into that. So just depends on what his minimum price is. SM, I think, is guaranteed rest spot 2-week contract. LOL. Good vibes. Yes, Brian. Absolutely. Always appreciate you, Brian. What is up? Reaves. excuse me, Reaves is a solid all-around basketball player, and he can certainly be utilized as a starter. But I don't believe he should be given the players on this particular squad. Look, I completely understand that, and I definitely I don't think that Reaves is the best necessary candidate to start. I just look at it as like I think he would be the best player or the best version of himself if he starts, if that makes sense. I think that I think as a starter, you would get the most out of him as opposed to him coming off the bench or things like that. That's just my only like reasoning for that. I don't like I said earlier, like I don't care either way. Like if they don't start Reaves, I'm gonna be like, man, what are they doing? Like, no, I if they don't start Reaves, I completely understand. And I do think he is a very good, sound, all-around player. But I just think he'd get the most out of him. I think he would be the best version of himself with the starters as opposed to the bench guys. The internet is a hell of a drug. Facts, definitely. If Jordan lost like 3 NBA finals, would he be considered the GOAT as it stands? It depends on how many he got to. I don't think so personally. But the thing is, like, people put so much emphasis on like titles, which I don't really understand because it's a team accomplishment, like, and people forget like what did Jordan do before he had essentially a dream team? And like my biggest argument, or the biggest argument that I see for people that I think is always funny is like people will be like, Jordan and the Bulls had the best team in NBA history. And then they'll argue that Jordan had no help. So it's like, what is it? How do you have the best team in NBA history, but everybody sucks on that team? Either everybody's really good or everyone's really bad. Like, what is it? But anyway, that's a debate for another day. We'll have to, maybe one day we'll dive into the LeBron and Jordan debate. Like, share, and subscribe. That is right. Thank you so much, Emily. Yes, like, share, and subscribe. We are at 4778. I need 22 more subscribers, and there's 104 of you beautiful people in the stream, and I know there are 22 of you that are not subscribed. Don't trust somebody else to subscribe. I want you to subscribe. I'm talking to you. As it stands, Lakers wants you. Cue the poster of like the we want you. But yeah, no, on a serious note, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. It means a ton to me. It really helped me grow. I'd love to hit 4,800 subscribers. That would be amazing. And don't forget to like the video, share, all that stuff. I appreciate you. I think I saw Ham was planning to have a rotation in these last couple of preseason games, be closer to regular season rotation minutes. Hopefully that's true because I want to see the squad hoop. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, and that's usually what the last like game or two are. Usually it's you ramping up to get ready for the actual regular season. And that's why like you'll see a lot of teams, especially the last game of the season or of preseason. A lot of teams will run most of their like rotation guys like ample minutes, just because you want guys to get the reps in, get prepared leading into the playoffs or into the regular season. I don't know why I said playoffs, but yeah. Swider and Ryan are good shooters and they have some size. I agree, and I don't mind them. I don't think Swider is NBA ready, and I just think if he's not like lights out, there's just no chance of him. I just don't think there's any chance of him playing. I just don't think he's going to do anything like that. I don't think Swider is NBA ready. I think Matt Ryan is, based on what we've seen so far. But I want these next two games to give us a good sample size. I hope Darvin Ham gives him some run time, and so we can kind of see what we got in Matt Ryan, because I do think he has a lot of potential. Facts, I'm asking the narrative just be shapeshifted to fit their agendas. Yeah, it's all it is. It's what it is. The Bulls were an excellent defensive team. They were very good. They had several like defensive player of the year guys. Yeah, see, look, Jonathan saying the same. Jordan's Bulls team had 3 defensive players of the year. Yeah, they did have him. Look, Jordan had an incredible team. Jordan had the best roster in the NBA pretty much year in and year out during his championship run. Look, that team was so good when Jordan left. They still won as many games or pretty close to it and still had a chance to win a championship. It's the whole Scottie Pippen mess stuff like that. Like, that's never happened. like with those teams. Like if you took Steph off of like that 73-win Warrior team, I don't think they would have been as good. I think that they would have been like a middle of the pack team, stuff like that. I mean, even LeBron, like that team was so good that like Jordan left and they still were really good. They still were one of the better teams in the league. Cheapskate, if it isn't costing us $7 million in tax penalties to give Swider a spot over Matt Ryan, that's the way I would go. I think I don't know. I have to look up what the difference. I don't think because I believe if I don't because there's certain qualifiers because Matt Ryan has actually played NBA games, so there are certain qualifiers for that. So I'd have to actually look up. I don't know off the top of my head, to be honest, and I don't want to tell you something that isn't true. Scottie Pippen led the Bulls to 55 wins. Yes, Jordan had plenty of help. Exactly. I agree 100%. Matt Ryan is giving JJ Redick vibes. I mean, he could. He's got size. I really like what we see from him. I want to see a little more. You know what I mean? Like I'd like to see him get a little run these next two games and kind of really give us an idea of how good or bad he is. Because it's the same thing I was saying with Bacon. Dwayne Bacon. Like everybody was like, oh, we need to sign Bacon. Bacon's the truth. Bacon's the next this, that, and the other. And I just don't think he was. And I was like, we should see a couple games, get some ample sizes, stuff like that. Like, let's find out. And the next game, he gets 20 minutes, and he was terrible, and they ended up waiving him. Josh Richardson or Buddy Hield? I'd rather have Josh Richardson. Yeah, I'd rather have Josh Richardson for sure. Nothing against Matt Ryan, but if his true value becomes $8 million plus, it's mostly right at the pine spot shooters. Nope. Yeah, I agree. They won 55 games without Jordan. Exactly. Thank you. Exactly. I wonder what would happen if LeBron never left Miami as stands. Would the small dynasty continue? I don't think so, because the reason LeBron left was because that team was aging themselves out. That team was getting really just getting too old. That's why LeBron left, because he knew like that team was going to start falling apart. Cheap State, Jordan also benefit from the hiring of absolutely Phil Jackson. Yeah. Mo Harkless just got waived. That's great news. Hopefully the Lakers can get that. We were waiting for that. Mo Harkless just got waived. That is awesome. Good stuff. I'm excited for that. People forget that Phil is an amazing coach. Yeah, he is arguably the greatest coach ever. That dude is incredible. That's the difference with Jordan's teams and LeBron's. He's the total system. Jordan's team had defense players around him with pre-made offensive schemes. Jordan was the plug, though. Yeah. The Chicago Bulls had a record of 34-31 without Michael Jordan in 94-95. Let's not act like they didn't need him to come back. Yeah, but you got to look at the comparisons of years. Like, I'm talking about like the years that like when he first, like it's just that team fell apart later on after the whole Scottie Pippen mess, things like that. Look, I'm not saying that they weren't better without Jordan. I'm just saying that they're like, of course they're better without Jordan. And I don't disagree that Jordan isn't one of the greatest players ever. I just think people don't give everyone else enough credit. Like that team was very good. Like people act like Jordan carried a bunch of bums to 6 championships. Like Jordan just took a bunch of people off the street and just walked to a finals. Like no, even if you look up like the competition, like that Jordan's played against, stuff like that, all NBA teams, all NBA players, stuff like that, like stats, matchups, like individual matchups, like like compared to like other teams, and I'm not even talking about like LeBron in this player. I'm talking about just like other team, like even Kobe's matchups against like competing, opposing shooting guards, stuff like that. Like Jordan had it pretty easy. But yeah. Pippen or Wade? I would rather have Pippen. I think Pippen was a better all-around player. People forget Scottie Pippen. Like there was real conversation about, is Scottie Pippen the second best player in the league? Like that was a real thing. So like Scottie Pippen was really good. Amen to Josh Richardson over Buddy Hield. Yeah, Josh Richardson, better player. I'm not very high on Buddy Hield, as many others are personally. Jordan's team had bench players that could have been starters. Absolutely. Dude, they were deep. Like I said, Jordan had the best team year in and year out. This is a great example too. Steve Kerr still has a higher 3-point percentage for a career. Not Steph. Yeah, I mean, he was the Klay Thompson, Steph Curry of that time. I don't care if it's an unpopular opinion, but Mo Harkless, Carmelo Anthony, or Rudy Gay are all worthy of the $8 million. Yeah, I agree. I really hope that they go and at least take a shot at Mo Harkless. I mean, obviously Mo Harkless has to want to come to the Lakers, but if he does, I think the Lakers should go get him. I think they should sign him immediately if they can. Obviously, when it comes to waivers and stuff, there's certain things to that. It's not that simple, but if they can, then yeah. I just realized we have two Matt Ryan, one in the NBA, one in the NFL. Too bad the NFL Matt Ryan is washed up. Yeah. Hey, Matt Ryan was actually a pretty good quarterback at one point. Big boy Kerr was an amazing shooter. Yeah, he was lights out. Josh Richardson over Buddy Hield any day, night, weekend, season. Yeah, absolutely. Josh Richardson is a better player. Like, look, Buddy Hield is an excellent shooter. There is no denying that. But he gives you nothing else. That dude is shoot or bust. And he does not look very good so far in preseason. Him and Miles Turner both don't look very good at all right now. Granted, it's preseason, maybe they bounce back, but they look kind of they look like guys that don't really want to be there. Lakers need one more dog and a proven 3-and-D like KCP, but with less injuries. Yeah, the problem is there's not really any out there. That's my only problem. I do like Mo Harkless. Like if Mo Harkless if the Lakers can get Mo Harkless, I would love that because he's a dog. He's more of the D than the 3. He's not going to give you a ton of shooting, but can he just be respectable? Like I don't need him to shoot lights out, but can he just shoot respectable enough to where teams have to actually respect his shot? If he can, then I think that he'd be a great pickup. Great pickup. Man, I would love KCP on this team, bro. But that's the best. I agree. KCP would be perfect on this team right now. But I mean, look, to be fair, before KCP became a Laker and and was with LeBron and all them, he was not that dude was people were talking about him potentially being out of the league and stuff like that. He was not as good as he was when he got with the Lakers. But then he got that fit. He got in the fit. He got in the system. All that stuff. It's really good. It was really good. But I take Mo Harkless, even Lance Stevenson, and I don't get what they think is wrong with Lance. My problem with Lance is he just seems not to be very good unless he's on the Pacers. When he plays for the Pacers, that dude is incredible. But whenever he's on another team, he just doesn't seem to be the same. I just think Lance Stevenson he's a little bit of a head case, and he's not as good as what you want or need. But I wouldn't mind. As the 15th guy, I would take a chance on Lance Stevenson. I really would. I liked when Lance Stevenson was on the team last, but I just think there's a lot more to Lance Stevenson than basketball. One more rodeo with Danny Green. If he wasn't injured and there weren't all those questions, yeah. But I think you could get him for dirt cheap right now. And I guess granted he'd be the 15th guy. So if he doesn't play, it's not the end of the world. But how is he going to be when he comes back from injury? How long is it really going to take? He's supposed to come back January, I think, something like that. So at the earliest, I think he's supposed to come back January, but very likely it'd probably be February or whatever. And then even then, is he going to? So that's my problem with Danny Green is how good will he be when he comes back? As it stands, Lakers will pass as it stands in subscribers soon. I would love that. I would love that ASAP. What are we at in comparison? So this channel, we're at 4778 still. I need 28 subscribers. Still 100 of you. Hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel. We're at 2778. Oh no, what happened? Oh no. There we go. 2778 on the Lakers channel, and we are at what? 5450. We're at 5451 on as it stands. So yeah, we're 800 away, something like that. Not too far. That a lot of that. So like this channel grew more organically than as it stands. Like as it stands, I just kind of got lucky, I guess. Probably the best way to put it. Because like I had a video that got like 100,000+ views, and that just like boom shot it up. And then I was just at the perfect time because like LeBron played in the Drew League, the Kyrie mess and everything came out. So like all of the like I was doing videos about that. So it was just like the perfect storm for as it stands. And then I was like, well, I'm a Laker fan. Let me talk about the Lakers. And then thus this channel became a thing. So I just think that I think as it stands blew up just for a perfect storm. But the problem with that is that channel views wise isn't as consistent as this channel. This channel is very consistent views wise because I grew it more organically. It wasn't just like a boom, a big explosion, and I had like, a bunch of subscribers. Like this channel has gotten like 2,000 subs every month for the last 2 months or whatever. So consistency is key. But you can help be a part of that consistency if you hit that subscribe button. 21 more subscribers. Let's do it. I'd love to see that before we sign on out of here. I love Lance Stevenson as an end of the bench deep rotation player. I don't mind it at all either. I just like, is he going to be a head case though? Because we look like we have good chemistry. That's my fear. Danny Green is supposed to miss most of the season due to injury. Yeah, that's my concern too. KCP was a defensive joke. Could use his shooting and hustle. No defense. I mean, he wasn't a defensive joke, but I mean, he wasn't like a lockdown defender, but he was a good defender. I mean, even if you look at his like defensive rating and defensive and like his overall defensive stats, like he was good. He was above average. But I mean, he wasn't like elite, but you didn't need him to be elite. What KCP was a good defender? Did we watch the same KCP in the playoffs? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. KCP was a good defender. He wasn't like elite. Like he wasn't like Kawhi, but he was good. I feel like Jordan was the rare case where he was so good that players let him mold them into the perfect teammates for his play style. And with the help of Phil, it was like everyone bought into Jordan. I agree. And I think, so I've said this before, like the thing about Jordan, and to his credit, because he was so great, but Jordan became this like figment, this like idea. And a lot of that was media because like the NBA, you had Bird and Magic starting to phase out. And the NBA was like, we got this kid from North Carolina, Air Jordan, all that stuff, all the controversy, all the craziness, like with the Air Jordans and stuff like that. And they just built this kid. But the thing is that he was good enough to be built, right? They couldn't have done that with some scrub. But Jordan was good enough to where they were able to basically put him on this pedestal. And so by the time he got to like Phil Jackson and Pippen and guys like that, he already had this like legend to him, this mysticism where everybody was like, that's Michael Jordan, right? But he was that good. Like he was good. I've always wondered like if he came in today, like in today's NBA, where everybody is a freak athlete, media, everyone gets media attention, like how good would he be today? Like that's always something I always wonder. Like a lot of people say like, oh, he'd average 45 a game, da 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 da. But would he? Like and would he be as effective if it? Because like yeah, it's easier to score, but you have a lot more guys that could better defend him than he had in his time. You have guys that are more overall athletic than back then. You have guys that are more overall just types of things and defenses, stuff like that. There's all kinds of stuff that Jordan would have to go up against that he never had to go up against in the past. So it's just interesting food for that. Let's be honest, as 99% of NBA fans don't want to see the Warriors repeat as champions. It gets real boring and the same team wins all the time. No, I agree. I mean, having some diversity in championships is always good. It's always important. But to be fair, if it was the Lakers, we wouldn't be saying that same thing. We would be like, hey, keep winning. Warrior fans are saying keep winning. But yeah, I do agree that all the other fans are like, all right, enough of the Warriors. If Russell Westbrook could at least shoot free throws and turn the ball over less, he would be so good. But I don't know, man. He shot free throws. He didn't miss a free throw the last previous game, right? And he that first game I know he missed like two, but I believe the second game he played he went like 4 for 4 or something like that. If I'm not mistaken. When was it? It was sorry, we're doing this in real time. Because why not? It's a live stream. Was it this game? Did he play? No, he didn't play this game. I don't know. I know there was one of the games where he put up like where he put up where he shot like made both his free throws. If I'm not mistaken. No, it wasn't this game. Darn it. This won't go that far back. I don't know. Anyway, I'll look it up later. But there was a game where he shot from the free throw line pretty good. Turnovers, yes, I do agree. But I think we'll be okay. I think it'll be good. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button and subscribe button if you haven't yet. That is right. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Are you not entertained? Subscribe to the channel. We are 21 subscribers away from hitting 4,800. That would be amazing. KCP Keen of the Fly by No Block. Lakers need to get Mo Harkless. I heard that they're right. Yeah, people were just telling me. I have to dive into that. Hopefully we can get him, sign him. That'd be great. Excuse me. But yeah, I would love that. I would be all for that. Imagine if LeBron had the positive media scripts like he had for Jordan. Man, I could only imagine. Oh yeah, he was the NBA's golden boy. He was, and like you got to understand, like that was like he came in at the perfect time, like when media was just starting to be a thing in the NBA, and so they weren't going to write bad about him. They weren't going to do anything. Like it was big. I think it's harder to drive the paint against zone defenses than against man-to-man defenses, which Jordan played under. Yeah, I mean, but you have better overall defenders too. Yeah, like also. So I do think like even which I completely understand your point, and I agree with you. But I also think just in general there are better overall defenders in today's NBA than back then also. Like so, I think it is definitely harder to drive in the paint against a zone defense than against man to man. So yeah, you're 100% correct. But I also think like even if you had to play man to man against him, there's a lot more guys. Like there wasn't like Kawhi Leonard's that like were his height, his size, but like had just insane wingspans and just giant mittens. So like 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 it just I think it'd be a lot harder regardless for him. I mean it'd be easy. It's easier to score, yes, but he would he would have a harder time defending people because people are a lot more skilled now than ever before. Um, Jerry Krause put the right piece around MJ. Absolutely. The refs blew the whistle if a player just looked at Jordan. Facts. He got a lot of help. I've always said, like, what happens if you put Jordan on Cleveland back then? Put Jordan on Cleveland back then, and is Michael Jordan considered the greatest player ever? Probably not. But we've seen LeBron, every team he goes to, have a legit impact. On a positive, Westbrook, no. We got rid of defense and added Westbrook. If Westbrook stays, he'll be a lot better with Patrick Beverley, shooter, and others we've added this year. I agree. I think Westbrook's going to be fantastic. Fantastic. Can you imagine some of the all-time greats with the same training, diet, resources as LeBron? The bar might have been way higher than it currently is for freak athletes. Oh, absolutely. I mean, just the advancements, the technology, the health, the medicine, just the training, like you said, everything. And even from a young age, I mean, some of these kids, like in these AAU programs and stuff, are like already on like insane diets, already have access to all kinds of like they train these guys young. I mean, there probably would be a lot more freak athletes. I agree. Assuming they both play, I'm looking for Russ to dunk on Rudy on Gobert tomorrow. Again tomorrow. I doubt it, but would be insane. Problem is, Rudy is not playing tomorrow. They already made that announcement. He's not going to play. They want to give him rest because he's coming off of the EuroLeague thing. So unfortunately, Gobert's they're supposed to not play tomorrow. Great show. Have to leave my computer for now, though. I'll see you next time. Well, thank you so much, Robert. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for hanging out and being a part of the show. Really, really, really thank you. Jordan can't carry 2018 Cavs roster, or let alone 2007. Yeah, especially 2007. Like, what LeBron did was incredible that year, especially so young. Later, Robert, yes. Who do you think will play heavy minutes start if we play a wing guard heavy team like the Clippers? Very likely, I think it'll be Davis at the 5, LeBron at the 4. I think we end up having very likely Walker at the 3. And then I think we do Patrick Beverley at the 2 against the Clippers. And I think Westbrook at the 1. And the reason I think Patrick Beverley starts against the Clippers is because I think Patrick Beverley is going to want to he's gonna bust his ass to try to get that W. So I think you definitely start Patrick Beverley. I think you start Patrick Beverley against the Timberwolves and you start him against the Clippers every single game. And I think Patrick Beverley is going to be that monster. I didn't know that. Makes a lot of sense. Yes. I saw it earlier this morning. There was some announcement on it, but stuff like that. But anyway, I'm going to skate on out of here. I'm going to do some research, stuff like that on some of the news that came out, see if there's anything that I need to make videos on immediately. I do have a video about Anthony Davis starting at center, but I might push that to later tonight. I might even go live again later tonight just to talk some stuff, especially if we sign somebody off of waivers or something like that. But stay tuned. I really appreciate y'all. Thank you all so very much for hanging out with me. Again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button on your way out. It takes 2 seconds. Really quick, really easy, really fast. Also, don't forget to like this video on your way out. Thank you all so very much. I will see you all in the next one. Thank you. Peace.